My friend, I know learning English feels like a mountain that never ends. You start, you stumble, you forget words, you lose confidence, and sometimes you feel like giving up. But let me tell you something straight from the heart. English is not just a language, it is a bridge. It is the bridge that connects you to the world, to opportunities, to people you never imagined you could speak with. Think about this. Every person you admire today once stood exactly where you are. They didn't know the words, they made mistakes, they felt embarrassed, but they refused to quit. What separates those who succeed from those who fail is not intelligence, not talent, but persistence. You don't need perfect grammar on day one. You don't need a dictionary in your head. All you need is the courage to take one more step every single day. The truth is, you already have the ability. If a child can learn English, so can you. The difference is mindset. When you approach English with fear, it becomes difficult. But when you approach it with hunger, with the fire of purpose, nothing can stop you. Mistakes? They are proof that you are learning. Laughter? Let them laugh. One day, the same people will be amazed at how far you've come. Every word you learn is an investment in your future. Every sentence you practice is a step toward freedom. Freedom to travel, freedom to work anywhere, freedom to express your ideas to the whole world. Imagine yourself in that moment, speaking fluently, confidently, with no hesitation. That version of you is waiting, and the only way to meet that version is to keep going now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. So promise yourself today, right now, that you will not quit, that you will practice every day, even if it's just 10 minutes, that you will not be afraid of mistakes because mistakes are your teachers, that you will not compare yourself to others because your journey is yours alone. One day you will look back at this struggle and smile because this struggle is shaping you into the person who never gave up. And when that day comes, when you speak English with confidence, you will realize it was never just about learning a language. It was about proving to yourself that you are unstoppable. Now go, take that step, and keep walking until English is no longer a dream, but your reality. You see, the very first step to learning English quickly is to change the way you look at it. Most people think English is just a subject, just another lesson in school, just grammar rules and vocabulary lists. And that's why they feel stuck. But the truth is, English is not just a language, it is a bridge that can take you from where you are today to where you dream to be tomorrow. Think about a bridge for a moment. When you stand on one side, you feel limited. Maybe there's a river, maybe there's a valley, maybe there's something stopping you from crossing. That's how life feels without English. You know there are opportunities on the other side. You see people traveling, building careers, studying abroad, making connections. You know there is a world waiting, but without this bridge, you feel stuck on your side. And here's the beauty of it. Building this bridge is not as difficult as it looks. The very first step is realizing that English is not about showing off. It's not about being perfect. It's about connection. When you start seeing English as a tool to connect, everything changes. Suddenly, the pressure of speaking perfectly disappears, and you start focusing on what really matters: communication. Imagine for a moment that you meet someone from another country who doesn't know your native language. Without English, you stay silent. But with English, even simple English, you can share your story, your ideas, your dreams. You can ask questions, you can build friendships, you can learn something new. That is the power of the bridge. It doesn't matter how strong your accent is. It doesn't matter if your grammar isn't perfect. What matters is that you are able to cross over and connect. This is why I call it the first step. Because once you realize English is a bridge, you stop treating it like a burden. You stop thinking, oh no, I have to memorize these words. I have to practice grammar rules. I'll never be good at this. Instead, you start thinking, every word I learn is another brick on my bridge. Every sentence I practice is another step forward. Every mistake I make is just a loose stone that I can fix later. You no longer feel trapped. You feel like you are building your way out. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you wanted to say something in English but stayed silent? Maybe in class, maybe at work, maybe when watching a video or talking to someone online. That moment felt heavy, right? You wanted to express yourself, but the words didn't come out. You stayed quiet. That's the feeling of standing on the wrong side of the bridge. But every time you choose to say even one broken sentence, every time you try, you are putting your foot on the bridge. And each time you do it again, the bridge gets stronger, the gap gets smaller, and suddenly, one day, you find yourself walking across with confidence. Do you know what stops most people from learning English quickly? It's not lack of intelligence. It's not lack of resources. It's the belief that English is something too big, too difficult, too far away. But when you see it as a bridge, you stop being afraid of how long it will take. You stop being afraid of making mistakes. You start moving step by step, word by word, sentence by sentence, because you know exactly where you're heading. Let me tell you, this step will change everything for you. The moment you shift your mindset, your motivation will grow naturally. You will start enjoying the process because you know why you are doing it. You're not learning English just to pass an exam. You're not learning English just to impress someone. You're learning it because it opens doors. It gives you freedom. It connects you to the world in a way nothing else can. That's why I want you to remind yourself every day, English is my bridge. Each time you practice, you're not just learning, you're crossing. Each time you speak, no matter how imperfect, you're walking forward. And every single day you choose to take that step, the other side of the bridge gets closer and closer. The next step in learning English quickly is understanding something that most people completely overlook. Persistence always beats talent. This is the truth that separates those who only dream of speaking English from those who actually do it. Too many people believe that learning English is only for the smart ones, the talented ones, or the ones who were born in English-speaking countries. They think, maybe I'm not good with languages, maybe my memory isn't strong enough, maybe this just isn't for me. But let me tell you, none of that matters. Talent might give someone a faster start, but persistence is what decides the finish. Think about a marathon. At the beginning of the race, some runners sprint ahead. They look confident, fast, unstoppable. But as the race continues, many of them slow down. They get tired, they give up. Then you see someone else, someone who started slowly, someone who wasn't the strongest or fastest, but they kept moving, one step after another, without stopping. Who wins in the end? Not always the fastest, not always the most talented, but the one who never quit. That's how English works too. If you want to speak English fluently, you don't need to be a genius. You don't need to have a perfect memory. You just need to keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you feel like giving up. Because every single time you show up, you get stronger. And over time, persistence always outshines natural talent. Remember, nobody is born speaking English. Everyone you admire, those confident speakers, those leaders, those successful people, every single one of them started with nothing. They couldn't say a single word. The only difference is that they decided they wouldn't quit. They kept practicing when others gave up. They kept speaking when others stayed silent. They kept pushing forward when others walked away. Persistence is not about big, dramatic actions. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every day. 10 minutes of practice today, 15 minutes tomorrow, another small effort the next day. It may not feel like much in the moment, but it builds up into something powerful. Just like drops of water can carve a hole in stone, your daily persistence will carve fluency into your life. And let me tell you this, persistence doesn't just build language, it builds character. Every time you decide not to give up, you're training yourself to be stronger, more disciplined, more determined. English becomes more than just a language. It becomes proof that you can achieve anything if you keep going long enough. Think about the times you tried and failed. Maybe you joined a class and left after a few weeks. Maybe you downloaded an app but stopped using it after a few days. Maybe you promised yourself you'd practice daily, but you gave up after missing a few sessions. Those are not failures. They are unfinished attempts, and the only thing standing between you and success is whether you choose to start again and keep going. Here's the secret. The ones who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who always get back up. Every time you start again, you prove that persistence is alive in you. Every time you refuse to quit, you move one step closer to fluency. And yes, persistence can be boring sometimes. It's not always exciting to repeat words, to practice grammar, to listen to the same phrases again and again, but that's exactly where the magic happens. Fluency doesn't come from doing something once. It comes from doing it again and again until it becomes a part of you. That's why persistence is so powerful. It transforms effort into habit and habit into mastery. So the next time you feel like quitting, remember this. Someone less talented than you, someone with fewer resources than you, someone with more challenges than you is out there learning English right now simply because they refuse to stop. If they can do it, so can you. Persistence is the first real test of your journey. The ones who pass it will cross the bridge, and the ones who give up will remain on the same side, watching opportunities slip away. The choice is always yours. The next step in learning English quickly is shaping your mindset, because mindset is the real power. You see, the biggest challenge is not the grammar, not the vocabulary, not even pronunciation. It's the way you think about yourself and your ability to learn. Most people fail not because they can't learn, but because they convince themselves that they can't. They carry this heavy thought inside. I'm not good at English, I'll never be fluent, I'm too old, I don't have enough time, people will laugh at me. And the moment you start believing these thoughts, your progress slows down, your motivation disappears, and you stop before you even begin. That's why the right mindset is not just important, it's the foundation of everything. Think about it like planting a seed. If you plant it in healthy soil, water it daily, and give it sunlight, it grows strong. But if you plant it in dry, hard ground with no care, the seed never becomes a tree. Your mind works the same way. English is the seed, and your mindset is the soil. If you believe you can grow, if you feed your mind with positive energy, with belief, with determination, your English will grow stronger every day. But if you keep filling your mind with doubt, fear, and negativity, you'll block your own progress. So here's the truth. Learning English begins in your mind before it ever shows in your mouth. You have to believe you can do it. You have to stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm getting better. This small shift changes everything. It's not about lying to yourself, it's about choosing to see progress instead of problems. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people trying to learn English. The first one says, this is too hard. I can't remember anything. I'll never sound good. The second one says, it's difficult, but every day I learn a little more. My pronunciation isn't perfect, but I'm improving. My grammar has mistakes, but it's better than yesterday. Both people are learning at the same level, but who do you think will succeed? The one whose mindset tells them to keep going. Your mindset is the voice you hear when nobody else is around. It's what you tell yourself when you make mistakes. Do you laugh at yourself and try again, or do you feel ashamed and give up? That choice decides how quickly you'll learn. If your mindset is strong, every mistake becomes a lesson, every failure becomes experience, and every small step becomes a victory. And here's something powerful to remember. English doesn't belong to native speakers anymore. It belongs to the world. It belongs to you. Millions of people speak English as their second language, and most of them don't speak it perfectly, but they speak with confidence because their mindset is clear. They know communication is more important than perfection. That's the mindset you need. Not fear, but confidence. Not self-doubt, but courage. Your mind can either be your biggest enemy or your strongest ally. If you constantly criticize yourself, if you compare yourself to others, if you let fear control you, then your mind will block your progress. But if you train your mind to be your coach, your cheerleader, your motivator, then your journey will be faster, smoother, and more enjoyable. This is why I call mindset the real power, because once your mind is in the right place, everything else becomes easier. You'll practice without fear. You'll speak without shame. You'll keep going without worrying how long it will take. Your mindset is the engine that drives you forward, even on days when you feel tired, even on days when you feel stuck. So make this promise to yourself. Protect your mindset. Speak kindly to yourself. Celebrate small victories. If you learned just one new word today, smile and be proud. If you spoke one broken sentence, celebrate it. It's a step forward. If you made 10 mistakes, remind yourself that 10 mistakes mean 10 new lessons. This is how winners think. And in learning English, winners are not those who are perfect. They are those who believe in themselves long enough to succeed. The next step in learning English quickly is to completely change the way you see mistakes. Because mistakes are not your enemy, they are proof of progress. Too often, people think mistakes mean failure. They feel embarrassed when they mispronounce a word, when their grammar is wrong, or when someone laughs at their accent. And because of that fear, they stay silent. They stop practicing, they avoid speaking. But here's the truth: the only people who don't make mistakes are the people who don't try. If you are making mistakes, it means you are moving forward. It means you are learning. It means you are alive in the process of growth. Think about how a child learns to walk. Do they walk perfectly the first time? No. They fall, they stumble, they cry, they get hurt. But every fall is proof that they are trying, and with every fall, they get stronger. Step by step, they learn balance, and soon they are walking and running with confidence. Now imagine if that child gave up after falling a few times. They would never walk. It's the same with English. If you stop after a few mistakes, you will never learn. But if you keep going, those mistakes will eventually lead you to fluency. The problem is not the mistake itself, it's the way you react to it. If you treat mistakes like shame, you'll avoid them. But if you treat mistakes like teachers, you'll welcome them. Every mistake carries a lesson inside. A mispronounced word shows you how to adjust your tongue. A wrong sentence shows you how grammar really works. An awkward pause shows you where to build confidence. Mistakes are the mirror that show you where to improve. Without them, you'd never know what to fix. Let me ask you this. When you hear someone else speaking your native language and they make a mistake, do you hate them for it? Do you laugh at them and think they're stupid? Of course not. You admire them because they are trying. You respect the effort. You even help them improve. So why are you so hard on yourself when you make a mistake in English? Why do you feel ashamed? Instead, you should be proud, because every mistake you make is proof that you're brave enough to try. In fact, the fastest learners are not the ones who try to be perfect. They are the ones who make the most mistakes and learn from them. They speak, they fail, they correct, and they try again. That cycle is what creates fluency. If you're afraid of mistakes, you block yourself from this cycle. But if you embrace them, you accelerate your growth. I want you to remember this. Mistakes are evidence of effort. If you wrote a page full of wrong sentences today, that's still better than writing nothing at all. If you spoke 5 sentences and 4 were wrong, you still practiced. You still learned. You still moved forward. The more mistakes you make, the faster you learn. And yes, people might laugh sometimes, but let them laugh. Do you know why? Because one day the same people who laughed will hear you speaking confidently, and they will be shocked at how far you've come. Their laughter is temporary, but your growth is permanent. Don't let temporary opinions steal your future. Think about great athletes, musicians, or leaders. Do you think they became great without mistakes? No. They failed hundreds of times, maybe thousands, but they never let mistakes stop them. They used mistakes as fuel. That's exactly what you must do with English. Every wrong answer is not a wall, it's a stepping stone. Every time you stumble, you're actually closer to the goal. So the next time you speak English and you make a mistake, don't stop. Don't hide. Smile, correct yourself, and keep going. Treat it as a victory because it means you are on the path. The path to fluency is not straight and perfect. It's full of bumps, wrong turns, and corrections. And that's what makes it real. That's what makes it powerful. Mistakes are not weakness. They are progress in disguise. Every mistake you make today is a step toward the confident English speaker you are becoming. The next step in learning English quickly is to understand the power of consistency, because consistency creates freedom. Most people start their English journey full of energy. They study for hours on the first day. They memorize dozens of words. They promise themselves they'll keep going. But after a few days, their motivation fades. They skip a day, then another, and soon they stop completely. That's why so many people spend years saying they want to learn English, but never actually do it. The difference between those who dream and those who succeed is not intelligence, not resources. It's consistency. Consistency means showing up again and again, no matter how small the effort. It means practicing even when you're tired, even when you're busy, even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, fluency doesn't come from one big action. It comes from 1,000 small actions repeated daily. Think of it like exercise. If you go to the gym for 5 hours once a month, you won't see results. But if you exercise for just 30 minutes every day, your body will transform. English works the same way. Studying for hours once in a while doesn't change much, but practicing for 15 minutes every day builds habits, strengthens memory, and creates real progress. This is why consistency is freedom. When you practice a little every day, you no longer feel trapped by English. It becomes a natural part of your life. You don't have to force yourself, you just live with it. Reading a short article, listening to a podcast, watching a video, speaking with a friend, these daily habits slowly free you from hesitation. Step by step, word by word, your mind becomes more comfortable, more confident, more fluent. Now here's the mistake many people make. They wait for motivation to be consistent. They think, I'll practice when I feel inspired. I'll study when I'm in the mood. But motivation is like the weather. It comes and goes. If you wait for the perfect mood, you'll never build consistency. Instead, you must flip the formula. Don't wait for motivation. Let consistency create motivation. When you practice daily, even in small amounts, you start to see results. And those results fuel your motivation. The more consistent you are, the more progress you see, and the more excited you feel to continue. Think of brushing your teeth. Do you skip it because you don't feel motivated? No, you do it every day because it's part of your life. That's how English should become, something so natural, so consistent, that it doesn't feel like a burden anymore. And here's another truth. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You don't have to practice for hours. You don't have to learn everything at once. You just need to do something every day. Even if you only learn one new word, even if you only practice for 5 minutes, it's still progress. Because one step forward every day is far better than 10 steps in one day and none for the rest of the week. Consistency also frees you from fear. The more you practice, the less you worry about mistakes. The more you expose yourself to English, the less strange it feels. Soon you'll find yourself thinking in English, speaking without hesitation, and listening without translating. That's the freedom consistency gives. It unlocks your brain and makes English flow naturally. Ask yourself this. How many times have you started learning English and then stopped? How many books, apps, or courses have you tried but left halfway? Each time, you didn't fail because you were not capable. You only failed because you weren't consistent. Imagine if you had kept going, just 10 minutes every day. Imagine where you'd be right now. You might already be fluent. That's the power of consistency. So from today, make a promise to yourself. Don't focus on how much, just focus on how often. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now, keep going, and let the small daily actions build the future you dream of. Because the truth is, consistency is not about discipline alone. It's about freedom. Freedom to express yourself, freedom to communicate, freedom to open doors that once felt locked, and every day you practice, you take one step closer to that freedom. The next step in learning English quickly is to realize that your journey is your own. This may sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful lessons you will ever understand. Too often, people compare themselves to others. They see someone who speaks fluently and immediately feel discouraged. Why can't I speak like that? Why am I so far behind? Why do they learn faster than me? And with every comparison, they lose confidence. But here's the truth. You are not them. Their story is not your story, their journey is not your journey, and that's okay. Every person learns at a different pace. Some people have more time, some have better resources, some live in an environment where English surrounds them, but you have your own path, your own challenges, your own strengths. Comparing your journey to theirs is like comparing a mountain to a river. Both move forward, but in different ways. The mountain stands tall, strong, slow to change. The river flows, flexible, moving around obstacles. Which one is better? Neither. They're simply different. The same is true for your English journey. When you compare yourself, you steal energy from your own growth. You focus so much on what others are doing that you forget to notice how far you've already come. Maybe you can't speak fluently yet, but remember the time when you didn't know a single word? Remember when English felt impossible? Look at yourself now. You're already further than you were yesterday. That progress belongs to you and nobody else. Your journey is not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters. Did you learn something new today? Did you practice a little more than before? Did you try even when you were scared? If the answer is yes, then you're winning. Step by step, day by day, you are building your own success. And here's something important to remember. Everyone struggles, even the people who look confident. You may hear someone speaking fluently now, but you didn't see the nights they stayed up practicing. You didn't hear the mistakes they made, the laughter they faced, the times they wanted to quit. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle, or even someone else's finish. That's unfair to you. Your story is still being written. This is why owning your journey is so powerful. When you stop comparing, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. You stop feeling behind. You stop feeling like a failure. Instead, you focus on your own growth. And when you do that, progress becomes natural. Think of it like climbing a staircase. If you keep looking at the people above you, you'll feel discouraged. But if you look down and see how many steps you've already climbed, you'll feel proud. And when you look at the next step in front of you, it suddenly feels possible. That's how English should feel, not an endless mountain, but one step at a time, at your own pace. You also need to understand this. Your accent, your mistakes, your style of speaking, that's what makes your English unique. You don't have to sound like someone else. You don't have to copy anyone. The world doesn't need another version of them. The world needs your voice, your story, your personality in English. Don't let comparison steal your individuality. So from today, remind yourself, this is my journey. My progress is my success. My mistakes are my lessons. My effort is my victory. Nobody can take that away from me. It doesn't matter if I learn faster or slower. It doesn't matter if I make more mistakes than others. What matters is that I am moving forward, step by step, on my own path. Because in the end, English is not a race. There is no finish line where only the fastest win. English is a lifelong skill, a tool for communication, a bridge for opportunity. As long as you keep going, at your own pace, you will reach the place you dream of. So my friend, remember this. Learning English is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about building the bridge that connects you to the world. It's about persistence when things get hard, about shaping a mindset that believes in possibility, about embracing mistakes as your greatest teachers, about practicing with consistency until fluency feels natural, and about walking your own journey without comparing it to anyone else. One day, you will look back at this struggle and smile. You will remember the times you felt nervous, the times you made mistakes, the times you wanted to quit, but you didn't, and that will be the proof that you are unstoppable. English will no longer be just a language to you. It will be a symbol of your courage, your discipline, and your growth. The world is waiting for your voice. Don't keep it silent. Take the step, keep going, and never stop until English is not just something you're learning, but something you live. Your future self is calling you, and it's time to answer with confidence.